Hi, this video is titled something to the effect of my high school experience was awful. And I'm going to tell you the truth about how it really felt for me, how it felt for me going to school in high school. Okay? You want the truth? How it actually felt all those years? No. God and Jesus sometimes make it difficult for us. And I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot in high school. And he wanted it to be more difficult for me because I was kind to everyone else. I was letting them enjoy and have no flaws on their face and on their body, kept standing up for them. They looked good. They all had nothing wrong with them. I had some weird thing that I could barely function because I was worried about the way something looked on my face, which I had to relearn at age 25. At age 25 to be confident again. It took that long. I had to suffer through all those schools with them looking down on my appearance. And the weird thing is that I was confident sometimes when I was partying. At parties like after school, I was confident and they thought I was popular. They thought I was popular. They thought I was popular. And walking around the halls, I was okay. I was pretty confident. And they thought I was popular. And, I guess we all have different things we go through. I'd like to talk to someone else. I'm going to check the chat. Maybe somebody wants to chat about high school on here. I'm going to check the chat. Deducte. I'm going to check the chat. Critical of John Birmingham. Critical of John Birmingham. Because his body doesn't have low enough body fat. Critical of John Birmingham. Because he doesn't have low enough body fat. Because he doesn't drive an expensive, cool enough car. Because he doesn't have a rich, brand new house. Because he's not good looking and young enough and perfect enough in his looks and young enough looking. Or if it's not that, he doesn't have $8 million that 4 people died so I could have $8 million. I crushed those people so I could have $8 million and talk just like the devil actually talks. Because the devil controlled my body like a puppet. $8 million for a few years or decades so I can be taken down to hell for all eternity for demons to torment and torture and throw them in prison cages down in hell that are way worse than any prison on earth. Yes, you could have $8 million and cause 4 deaths. All while following the law perfectly as he says, because only God is perfect. Only God is perfect. We're flawed. We are not perfect. And that's what I had to learn after they made fun of every inch of my body, including my face and my body, all through high school and other schools, until I made myself think I worked really hard at my appearance until I thought I had to look perfect. I said, I'm perfect. I thought I had to look perfect. I thought I had to look perfect to be like those kids looked growing up in high school and in some of the earlier college years when I was 18, 19, Radford University, Virginia Tech, how perfect those kids, I thought they looked, had nothing wrong with them. All, usually made fun of the way I looked, not in Virginia Tech as much. That was a little better. They just made fun of me. They looked down on me in high school. For my graduating class, there was a unanimous agreement. We're better than him. Yeah, we're better than him. Almost every kid in the whole graduating class. And that's just how it was. They thought that they were all better than me because of some popular person who chose to look down on me and make me the one who was different from all of them. For some reason, they chose to say that, oh, he's supposed to be kept in silence. Could not talk. I could not talk. Every moment was pretty much most of the day. Homeroom was the worst. Awful. Could not get a word in. All their kids regular talking so they could all be okay, and I had to suffer. And then I tried to be famous. Now I have 80 or 100 million views. 80 million views, 100 million views. And some other stuff too. And that, I think, was the devil tempting or tricking me, making it difficult for people, putting pressure, and then they just act a certain way. But some of high school was really good. Some of high school was really good. Art class, I was one of the best in art. I was good at art. I was chosen among 2 other students. There were 3 students in the whole school that went to some little gifted weekend day thing or something. So the art teacher chose me. She made me feel okay. I felt okay in that art class. I could talk, feel normal, no anxiety, no pressure. It was okay. Cafeteria was okay. Generally, cafeteria was okay. And walking around the halls was generally kind of okay. Like, wasn't in that classroom setting again. Something about it. I think one of my friends, his father dropped out of high school, and worked his way up through some company in the town. And he made good money, and he wanted his son to do the same thing. And I was good friends with him. He lived in my neighborhood, and so I was close to him, and he could barely make it through. I think he dropped out. He just had to walk out of class one day. He couldn't take it anymore. So I was friends with him. So it's like it made it feel like difficult for me. And I think there's some of them for sure. 10 or 20 years later, I saw them, and they're like still trying to act better than me. After I tried to be famous and was just as mean as they were to me, to others, which is pretty bad, really bad. Except I mandated socialism on a national level. I tried, or the whole world. I tried to make world peace. All holding hands, every kid in the classroom, okay. Every last kid in the classroom, even the one who was the weirdest one, even the terrorists, reaching out to the terrorists to make sure we were friends with them and shook hands with them, and we were all getting along in peace. And that's what I pushed at one of the best film schools on earth, Chapman University, which is the number 6 film school of today. That Arnold Schwarzenegger was there when I was in attendance, and I took a class from Peter Medak, who was an Academy Award nominated director who kissed my wife on the hand. He didn't do that to any of the other kids in the class. And I made an $80,000 movie there and tried to be famous. And I was really mean and a jerk. And I found out that all those kids that were making fun of me in high school, they're giving in to the devil. They weren't kind and Jesus-like by being mean to me, by allowing that one kid in the classroom to suffer like that the whole time. And they're aware of it. And there was one jock who was going, yep, hope he dies or something. And then after I made it out of high school, some years later, that kid, the new one, turned into those shooters because they weren't from a good family. They weren't as kind of a person and Jesus-like of a person, despite if someone is crazy or not. If they're kind and have a good upbringing, they're not going to shoot anyone or hurt anyone like that. Doesn't matter if they're crazy or not. But I had to learn how to be a really law-abiding citizen, and at one time I thought that was more important than being a kind person, which is not true. And then I had to come back to being a kind person again, and my meek self, my meek, kind self. And, going out there in the town today, I drive a 2001 or 2001 Ford Explorer. Yeah, cool, man, cool. And just pulling up behind the cars in the same town I went to high school in. These cars that are like new because they make 80,000, well, 55,000 a year, and their wife makes 55,000 a year. However much, something like that. They make kind of good money, so they drive like a new car. They have all the regular schools from around here, which are good. I went to the schools too, and it's like, better than you. Yeah, he's crazy. Throw him in jail. Yeah, because he's the one who said the crazy thing. Crazy, jail. That's what he said. Yeah, since you're crazy in jail, I guess that's where you're going. Drive right by my $42,000 car. And that's what they try to do to people. And they try to trick me and get me to do that. They try to trick people and get them to break the law with their devil-influenced meanness. And that's what they actually try to do. And I'm smarter than that now, because I had to learn, unfortunately, to be just like they were, tricked by the devil into sin and the wrong type of meanness. And I followed the law really well. And then, but all those years I was really kind, and they were the ones making fun of me, and I never lost it once. It took till I was 25 years old, and finally I thought I was dying of a heart attack. I was under so much stress with panic attacks and stuff, and I was so weak with like a hernia that I had been bedridden and gone to all this school and made almost all A's to get into the best schools. Like all that school kept having to go and go and go. Something changed in my brain, and unfortunately I became meaner than all of them at one of the best film schools that I kept, trying to go to. And for the first time in my life, it was horrible. I became intentionally mean to others. And that's not good. That's not what the Bible is about. Kindness to others is what the Bible is about. So I did some sin in my thoughts and in my intent, and I covered it up by following the law perfectly, doing I thought it was perfectly. It's not perfect. God is perfect. We're not perfect. We're flawed. But I tried to follow the law perfectly so no one could hurt me. And I would think this is a trick of the devil. This is the trick of the devil. This is one of them. He has many tricks that he can do. He's so far more brilliant than any human being. So don't let him trick you. One of his tricks is he has an intent and thoughts of horror, the worst horrors imaginable, or saying, the meanest things ever about someone's eyebrows looking a certain way, or someone's nose, or something about their backside, or private parts, or hair on their body looking awful. Like a lot of the jocks, like a lot of the popular people, like a lot of the people who make a lot of money. And they have one thought in their mind and an intent in their mind, or a lot of thoughts. They're going to hurt that person any way they can, quote unquote, any way they can, no matter how mean they have to be. They're going to get there and be big, like the biggest, most famous guy with $300 million is on steroids and has a rich Lamborghini that's not even called a Lamborghini anymore. It's like called a G28 of, and it's like, and they have so much money that they're going to get there any way they can. No one's going to stop me. No one's going to get in my way, including that. What they mean is there could be a child there. There could be someone who they're willing to hurt. They're going to do it any way they can. They're going to get there any way they can. Or those people say who want all that money, all that power, all that they want to look young, they want to be in the best shape, all the earthly things on earth. And it's wrong. It's all wrong. And they have one thought or one type of thought and thoughts in their mind and intent, meanness to others, to take for themselves so they can have more and more on earth. That's their thought and intent. But they cover it up and they pretend they're following the law, and they trick people like the devil. The devil tricks others and he distorts the truth. He distorts God's truth. God's truth is good. God's truth is good. And it's everything good. God created everything that's good. The devil created everything that's bad and sin. He started trying to fight back God, and there was no hope, so he went to just meanness, any meanness that he could. And that was the only way he could try to overthrow God, which there's no hope for him. He's going to be thrown in the lake of fire for all eternity. So when you see people or think of people and interact with people who have these mean thoughts in their mind of tricking people and making them think they did one thing when it was really another thing, so they can hurt someone else, any brilliant way they can think up to hurt others so that they're better and they have more money and they go through their whole lives. They go through their whole lives doing that. And you know what God says at the end of it? He says to them, they were a worker of unrighteousness. They were a worker of unrighteousness, and they're not allowed in the kingdom of heaven because they did not live according to kindness to others. They did not forgive others their trespasses. So he did not forgive them for not forgiving others their trespasses. He did not forgive them their trespasses, and they are going to have to go to hell. They're going to have to go to hell. All those mean people who make a habit of it. So that's my jerk sin way of saying they might go to hell, but you have a chance. They may have a chance to not go to hell. Those people may have a chance to not go to hell. So to go to heaven, there's only two options. When you die, you're judged by God, and you either go to heaven, which is infinitely beautiful. There's no need for even sex because it's beyond the limitations of a physical sinning body that feels good according to eating food and stuff like that. And it's just way more beautiful and better than anything on earth that we can understand. Quite, unless we understand the Bible and we have like a look into how it really is. But we're flawed, like this screen was showing the side. We're flawed, we sin, we're made to sin. And those kids in high school made fun of me, and I had to endure it for some reason. They didn't make fun of me, they had an agreement, keep him in silence, could not talk. The most popular ones did it as their trick to trick me into silence so I could not fit in. And it gave me a reason to try to prove something, but that was the problem. Those people, they think that someone is saying something bad about them, about the way they look or not having enough money, and they dedicate their life to proving that they're better than those other people, and they can be really mean. And I had started to become really mean. To prove that I had the biggest resume, I was famous. I thought, I'm not an A-lister. I'm not a real famous person. And that was my goal, to be a rock star or A-lister or something like that. And I'm not going to anymore. almost for sure. Almost for sure. I'm not going to be an A-lister. I'm not going to be a person like Mick Jagger or somebody like that. But he could be good. You never know. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. They may have different experiences that got them there. They may have had someone who, just different experiences that got them there. It's not always bad. It's not always bad to be famous or rich or good looking. Sometimes people can be good looking and they're not bad. And I'm gonna check my comments. My high school experience was awful, the video is called. Verica Z. John, how are you? Johnny boy. You're supposed to say hi to people who say hi to you in your chat. You're being very rude. Hey. Well, I tried going out there today. Hey. I tried going out there today because I had to get my medicine at CVS or wherever pharmacy I went to, and I went to CVS. Danica wants me to be on medicine, and so I took the medicine that she wanted me to get. I went to a psychiatrist. And you have a chance to get into heaven, and that's what it's all about. I don't know how much I can tell people, but sometimes, I know, not sometimes, that is the most important thing. Following God and Jesus. Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be the most fitting in person who follows all the rules way better than everyone else so I can have more money and stuff like that. I'm truthful, and I admit it when I sin. I've always been truthful. Besides when I didn't know that I was thinking one thing and had one intent, which was mean, selfish, so I'd be the best and feel the best on earth, while I was mean to others, and I'd say another thing out loud, and that was a problem. That was something I had to learn when I was about 25, and it was terrible. And I did it for about 2 years, and then I stopped, and then I found God and Jesus again. I became depressed, and it all came back to hurt me and made me very depressed, all the stuff I did to others. And then I found God. And then I found God, and everything went okay for a while. I've been saving a lot of money. I ran out of hair dye, and I happen to have this color stuff, but I want to put it the dark regular color in so it looks more normal. I don't want to try to look too weird. But that stuff doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter for following God and Jesus and kindness to others. It doesn't matter to be kind to others what color someone's hair looks like. It made me feel happy. I kind of liked it growing up, like looking a little different, like whoever it was. But maybe I can't understand, but it's better to look like a normal haircut to fit in with people better. Maybe that's how I'm supposed to do it. And if it's difficult, don't complain, don't be angry at them. And I'm following God, and I'm doing God's work when it's difficult. It's really difficult. And It can be pretty difficult on earth. I don't want to think about it too much. But that's the challenge, is being as godly and being as kind as you can to others, and following God and Jesus as much as you can, because it's hard to get into heaven. So when you've had it difficult, really difficult, and you're like, why is it so difficult? Then you're like, wow, I'm really doing God's work. Usually, if you're not just being one of those horrible, mean people, because we all have a conscience. We all have a conscience. You can't rely on that alone. You should really be kind to others and follow God and Jesus. That makes it obvious what we have to do. When you understand all the Bible and have faith, that makes it obvious what we're supposed to do. I'm itching my nose. I know he's doing something. He's picking his nose. Yep. Yep. When he goes out there, yep, he's driving a little less expensive car. He must do cocaine. He's on meth. He's on meth because his car. Yeah, because I got a cool, like $34,000 car. Come on, it's Los Angeles. They got $140,000 car here and there, really often. But here for like an $18,000 car, still better than you. But it don't make a difference, because here they got a Range Rover that's just like the LA people, and they're just as mean. The white Range Rover, man, I might become famous too. I'm driving a Range Rover already. Might as well be a famous person so I can be mean as shit to you. I should probably dye my hair back, but it's okay enough for now. I had to cover it up when I went out in public. I let it be wet so it looked darker, and I kept it in the car so that the sun didn't shine too bright on it. So I wasn't like making like a statement I fit in. It sucked. It sucked out there. It felt so horrible. Felt horrible. I went out there had to make it all the way across town, the same place that I went to high school, and they looked down on me just to get my medicine. It was some jerk driving past me, pretending I'm on cocaine, that he wants to set my house on fire, and pretended that I was saying I was going to set something on fire, when that's what it felt like in my thoughts. And then a fire chief type of person driving by and saying he was going to like almost get me or something, when I'm just trying to get my medicine. I don't want them to set my house on fire. I would never hurt anyone by doing it. And like, just being around those people, like those are the types of thoughts that they're I was almost thinking of, but they're just thoughts, right? They're just thoughts, so it's not going to happen. But so it's just thoughts. And so stressful, the thoughts going on just driving there. I don't like it. I don't feel like myself. It feels awful. And it's driving like a 2001 car. And it's like, I don't like being a part of that out there sometimes. Sometimes it's okay. I'd like my happy family together to be a big happy family, and we're all together and we're feeling okay. And then, I might have felt bad having to drive an older car around those people who may try to look down on me because I was driving some old car. If I had my happy family, then, I don't want to go out there that much. There's nothing much. Like when I try to interact with people, it feels alone and like I don't get that much. Like I can't go to some woman like this Verica Z person like I can't, I don't want to go for any new woman. I've been celibate for about 2 years, and I have not lusted over any other women, even in my thoughts. I've not lusted over any. I have not lusted on any other women in my thoughts, even. I'm trying to be nice, not trying to look as good as I can. I know it makes me feel good to look good, but I haven't been trying. I'm trying to pretend like, yeah, I might have a fat neck or something, like I'm not as in good shape, because I know it's wrong to try to act better than others with my appearance. Like I was having to go through some difficulty with my sin because I had pushed my appearance. I had pushed my appearance too much. And so I try to be kind about it. And I want to get into heaven. I want to get into heaven. And the way you get into heaven is by you make habits of being kind on earth. No matter how difficult it is, you keep being as kind as you can. And that's how they are in heaven, except they get to feel really, really good all the time. And that's what it's really all about. That's what it's really all about. And I was very kind in high school, but then I sinned sometimes too. I made it through. Like, that was like God saying, "Well, you got to be the least popular one in your class." But I was popular with the younger grades. Oh, you meant anxiety. But I was popular with the younger. That gave me a chance to be kind of famous. Because then I could try to like act like the most popular one, and then it wasn't too much sin, and I deserved it after what I had to go through all those years of schools. Like till I was in my 20s or so. And some of high school was okay. I was popular. The younger kids thought I was cool and popular. The only problem was that I was too young for my grade, I think. But I'm not sure. I'm a sinner, so that could be wrong. I don't know. I was too young for my grade, so the kids younger than me thought I was cool. I don't know. Yo! Does this look young enough for you? Shit! I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Dang! It's difficult sometimes. It's difficult. I can't. I can't even picture being with that woman. Can't even picture being with that person who might be a young woman, and it's like I'm not even in particular interested in young women. That as long as the soul who I get along with, the woman who I get along with, can be any. As long as I'd like to be with Danica. It doesn't matter what she looks like, as long as she's kind and she is a woman. I'd like to be with her, unless there's something that I'm not getting here, because I got a divorce. She made me sign divorce papers, and I didn't want to get a divorce like 10 years ago. So I don't know how else to see my children. I don't know. Because I was a jerk and kept trying to be famous to prove that I was famous, and it messed up my whole marriage. Because I had been made fun of in those schools. And because I also just thought that stuff was cool, and like kind of thought going out to Los Angeles and all those, like the people who were at the Comedy Store, like Robin Williams and all those famous comics like Will Ferrell and all those famous comedians I thought were so cool, and who were on Saturday Night Live and just that famous stuff. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to be like those rock stars like Motley Crue or whatever their newer ones, in the 2000s or so, or 2000. By 2014, it took me a while till I stopped liking that stuff. Like in the past couple years, I was like, it's wrong, it's bad. I don't know what to say. You like all this? Shit! Might be feces on me. I might be 82. Would you still like me, Verica Z? Because I can't do that. Probably can't do that. You know, I'm waiting for Danica, my wife. They've been taken away from her, out in the woods all alone. I'm alone. Can't listen to Jim Morrison saying an actor out alone, because it's evil. It's me. Always me. Where's someone else? He don't look good enough. He ain't ripped and cut enough to look like the coolest, best one that he wanted to be, to prove to those kids in high school that I finally was okay, that I had a grudge against them until my late 30s. Now I'm 42 now. I finally got past it. It was terrible. I had a grudge against them. I was mean to one more of them a couple of years, a little while ago, and I felt terrible. He was the all-star soccer team while they kept me on the bench and stuff. He was an all-star soccer player while he was the most popular, scoring all the goals. He'd be with women and stuff, and I had to never be with women and or girls back then. And it was difficult. It was difficult going through a lot of it, most of it, every day usually at high school. The time I got in high school, because my parents moved, and it was a new neighborhood, new place, and all of a sudden I had to start at some school, and it was just like, I don't know. But I had to be like them, so I fit in with them. It was like, sometimes they're up here, sometimes they were like feeling like on a scale of like here, on a scale of like 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, I felt like around like, I don't know, here somewhere in high school, and they were like, yeah, I thought they were all like here or something, and I was like, and then I guess there was a time when I got so good looking, I probably looked better than most all of them. But now I don't, I started being up here, and they were like, yeah, man, yo ho ho, Shrek body, we got a family now, I gained some weight, and I kept trying to be like I'm the best, and like act like some stupid thing, like I was like ripped and had like, like a chiseled square flat chest with like abs that I used to be able to pose in all these different ways that I imagined and made real on my own body. And it took, and I was heavy growing up. First they made fun of my whole body, like being one of the second fattest one in the soccer team, through all the sports things, humiliated me by making me take my shirt off in front of all those kids. How could I possibly play soccer when I was worried about the way I looked? And it went on. It started with my body, then on to when I got skinnier and taller. I still thought I was fat till I was 25 years old. I could not enjoy food. I could not enjoy food out in public until I was 25 years old, and I retrained my brain I had to be like those kids in high school, intentionally mean to others because I was so kind and godly and Jesus-like. There was one time that I messed up and I stole stuff. That was terrible. It made me look even worse. And then I got like really into my appearance. And I wasn't perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I went through ups and downs, like with those kids in high school. And when I was in high school, I got along with them okay. The younger ones generally. I'm trying to think if there's anyone in my grade. Sally. I got along with Sally if she was in my grade. I don't know if she's in my grade or not. She might have been in my grade. And, you know, this is an amazing thing. This is an amazing thing. My heart belongs to Danica. Yeah, I probably not. I don't know. I'm gonna go for her. If not, I just want to get into heaven, and it's unfortunate I might have to suffer a lot, but I don't know what I'm gonna have. I might be enjoyable. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I have no idea what it's gonna be like. Might be enjoyable a lot again. Like to go out in public a lot and fit in. Like to fit in a Roanoke like I used to in the later 2000s with my wife. We'd drive around with the wife and kids and stuff, and it felt awesome. We had kind of like an okay car, like an SUV that looked kind of okay, and I don't know if I believe in that as much anymore. I respect people. Some of those people with money can get into heaven, but I'm not as into it as much. But I'm not into a lot of tons of money. I'm into going to heaven. And like look at Jimmy Fallon. He's terrifying to me. He might, like I don't know. He might be good. He might be good, but he might not. And I don't know who those people are because they're strangers, and they have like 1,000 or 10,000. They have 10,000 times as much money as most people have. So, Verica Z. See if we can zoom in on your face. No! Verica Z. You can see how like asexual or non-sexual I am, because looking at you, I can't even think about it. It's like, yo, man, I'm ugly. I've never said I was ugly, though. Remember how bad I thought I looked. I never thought so I was ugly, so it must have not been that terrible. I don't know. Never said I was ugly, but I might have been. Might have been ugly. Verica Z. I don't know who that is. I can't. I just haven't even thought about being with a woman for so long, besides Danica, for 2 years. And waited for her for 5 years, since, 10 years. I never wanted to get a divorce. But I had been a jerk. I sinned too. I might have sinned worse than those kids in high school. Some of them I might have sinned worse. I don't know. So some of them are probably maybe going to heaven or something. I don't know. Who's this Verica Z? Trying to zoom in on the words. Oh, you're trying to see. Okay, let's take a picture and get a really close up of Verica Z's face. Take a picture. Here's how you take a picture on a Mac. Ooh, I don't want to see this. Where's Danica? Danica, sign on and comment. Are you watching, Danica? I don't want to look at Verica Z. Look, Verica Z. Verica Z. Get out of here. You ain't Danica. Yeah, oh no. Computer, man. $3,000 computer. I'm complaining about not having a car. I'm not poor. I guess I'm okay. It's just been somewhat. Money's not important. I haven't been pushing up money. I only have this computer to do my videos, so I can do editing. He's not out and about and the most popular one, so he had to edit it later. Here's how you do Photoshop. You want to see how to do Photoshop? Here's how you do Photoshop. You click on the icon down here on a Mac. Click on the icon. This is a program I'm doing a live video on called OBS. It's free, I think, but it's the best one. It's the best one. Photoshop, I paid for this, of course. I don't rip off program. I don't steal programs. I don't steal anything. It's against God and Jesus. It's bad. It's against God and Jesus. You know, we inherently sin. Something not scary. Here's this Photoshop that I did. Oh, I gotta plug in a hard drive. Taking a break. Wine. I couldn't take it after I went out there in public. I had to drink wine by myself. I know it's unhealthy. I ate a whole thing of ice cream. First, it's the third thing of ice cream I've had in a few years. Here's how you do Photoshop. You click on an image, or you go up to File. Here's how you do Photoshop. Make myself smaller here. Here's how you do Photoshop. They have it on PC and Mac. You may already have it. This one's like $10 a month. You don't pay for it as one program. You just pay for it. You can animate in it. It's gotten really good. I've been using this for 20 years, Photoshop, because my grandmother taught me art growing up. So I was good. So in art, I felt popular in schools. In art, just in art class, and kind of in the halls. Like the younger kids would see me and thought I was cool. They'd see the way I dressed. One man thought that I slashed his tires, and I promised to God I never slashed his tires. This man that was a teacher thought I slashed his tires. I don't know why. I promise I didn't do it. It's the strangest thing. I did other stuff that was pretty bad, but not to hurt anyone. I never hurt anyone. Besides these 2 times it was self-defense. They're beating up my friends, hurting them. And I had to like punch one of them in the teeth, and it was terrible. I had to go to court, and they didn't show up. They tried to take us to court, and they didn't show up because they're scared, because they were the ones who did the whole thing. And it was terrible. It was terrible. I'd never get in a fight. I would never get in a fight anymore, ever. I just couldn't do that. I might try to restrain someone who was trying to fight. And I never would do that to a. Why would I hurt someone's? It's so funny looking back. This teacher thought that I did something to his tires. I would never have done that. I never did that. I did steal stuff. There was some stuff that I stole, and I thought the insurance would just pay for it, because this popular kid on the soccer team, stole my whole car stereo system that I worked at Papa John's Pizza for a while and saved up and got this really good car stereo system, and he stole the whole thing, and it set me off. I didn't know what to do, and he was the most popular kid on the soccer team, and he stole my stereo system and this stuff that I had in the back of the car, and it was terrible. And I stole stuff, and I got in trouble for it. And then it did something in my looks. It made it look really bad. And I had a hernia and could barely walk and thought I had too much hair in my arms. I had too much hair in my arms and it was like ugly feeling. I grew my hair in my face. I had braces. It was like I had no confidence. It lasted 2 years. And then I got confident again. I got my braces taken off. And but high school was not really that bad. It's just the top, I might change it. Anyway, here's how you do Photoshop. This is taken with a 360 camera, Insta360. I don't have the brand newest one, but I've been debating whether or not to get it, but I don't think I need it. I have enough camera equipment. I have Arri movie lights. I have 3 Arri 650 Fresnel movie lights. I have some photography lights. I have 2 sets of photography lights. I have a DSLR, Canon 5D DSLR. It films in full frame 35 millimeter. I've got like a rolling dolly with a really good tripod with a smooth fluid head tripod. It's a strong one. I have all this other camera equipment, like stuff like this or whatever. And I have a recording studio. I have a recording studio for all this musical equipment. I can mic all the drums. I have a Marshall stack, a bass amp, bass, guitar, acoustic. I can do all this. I can really do my filmmaking, but I miss my children, and I miss Danica, and sometimes it's so difficult missing them and being alone that there's only so much I can do, and it feels wrong to be doing some work in films, like my best work in films, and I'd rather be getting them in the films or all of us in the films, and maybe I pushed that too much or something. I don't know. Maybe I pushed that too much. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going to happen. I keep living though. I keep living somehow. And it's really difficult, because one of the things that I did to try to look better after all that high school, making fun of me, and then on to colleges, them making fun of me in the class, or them looking down. I had issues with the way I looked, and I had gotten really weak with a hernia. Then I thought I became invincible. Punch myself in the stomach. After I could punch myself in the stomach, had ripped abs. I was really. I made myself have a Michelangelo David body. That was the body I wanted, and I did the hard work and got it. But that was when I was like 25. Before that, I could not take my shirt off in public from about age 10 to 25. There were times here and there. There were a few times, I think just a few, that I could take my shirt off there's one time I remember at a pool, and here and there, like a few times when I had gotten in the best shape I thought I could when I was a kid, but mostly I could not go to swimming pools, could not eat out in public. I had an issue with my body, and I had body dysmorphic disorder, I think. And so I had to make up for that and really work hard at it, to my face and my body. And I used to shave my arms. It got pretty bad. I don't want to talk about it. It was like, I think stealing the stuff, because I was in the South, and something about being in the South, I started acting like New York was cool. That was so stupid. I started acting like New York was cool, and they did mafia stuff in New York. But my parents never did that. Our family never did mafia stuff. Never. And my grandfather was the chief of the NYPD. My grandfather was the chief of the NYPD. He was the most powerful policeman on earth. He's the most powerful policeman on earth. My grandfather, Michael G. Birmingham, in the early 60s. And he came to Roanoke. He was on the cover of the Roanoker magazine. But that's ridiculous. He was in the news a lot and stuff back then. There's professional photography with him. He talked to John F. Kennedy and stuff, had him in his car, and John Glenn, I think, sat down at the dinner table with him. And he got really big at that stuff. He was an Irishman. And this was so long ago that this was like when he first started rising in the ranks of the police force, that the Irish were looked down on back then. I think worse than black people or something like that. And he had to balance black people and Irish people to rise to the ranks of the most powerful policemen. And, he's just the chief of the police. He wasn't like a senator or something like that, or like he wasn't some rich person. He got paid a salary, but not that much. And they have people in this town who, they're like the head of the whole school department. And I guess they make kind of somewhat of a similar, I don't know. But my parents moved down south because my dad felt comfortable here. It's kind of like Ireland. It's like Ireland in this town. It's really beautiful here. It's like Ireland. I think some European people came here. And so I just had it difficult going out there today. So I was like, man, I didn't like high school or something. And it wasn't easy, but it gave me an incentive it gave me a reason to I don't know. I think this is pretty amazing. I think if we're so kind and Jesus-like to others so much that we neglect ourselves and only serve others, and it hurts, and we allow it to hurt our body so much, we can die and we'll go to heaven. I think that may be possible, but I'm not sure, and I don't suggest it to anyone, because we're supposed to be kind to ourselves too. And I may be wrong. That may be really, really wrong, because I think in the Bible, I think you're supposed to be kind to yourself and others. That's true. But I think I've found out by being so depressed and alone that I can maybe let myself die. But that's terrible, and I don't want that to happen to anyone I know. And so I got to keep living somehow. But usually I work out and stay healthy, but I've gotten kind of discouraged. And but I wouldn't suggest letting your body die unless you want to be like a martyr. That might be like a martyr. And I don't suggest that to anyone, because we're supposed to feel kind of happy on earth. We're supposed to be kind to ourselves and others. That's what it says in the Bible. So I'm a sinner. That's why I kind of started getting that wrong. I'm flawed. Well, here's Photoshop. You go to File, New, and you start I think I did this at Virginia Western in the 90s, some version of like Photoshop or Paint or something like that in my town. They call it Virginia Western Community College. I don't know. And so you start a new thing. Okay, so I opened this picture, and here's how you draw it, and here's how you do Photoshop. Well, this cannot use the clone stamp because something. This is this. This is this. I drew it or painted it. I painted it on a piece of paper, and I took a picture of it with my iPhone, or I have a scanner, because I was gonna go to Hollywood or send out resumes or something like that. So I got a good scanner and printer and one. And I worked in real estate for 13 years, so I could pay for that stuff. And I drew this on a piece of paper. You take a picture of it. You plug it to your. You can do this, or you can just you don't have to draw art. You can anything that looks like a child's drawing. A child's drawing you can draw, and it looks cool in Photoshop when you do it. And so like I imported it, and then you look up how to do a green screen in Photoshop. You look up how to do a green screen in Photoshop. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But you're not Danica. You're Verica Z, whoever that is. But I'm not trying to. Picture of my face. I'm not interested. That's not. I can't. And I don't know. I haven't been trying to go for anyone. I just think of Danica for years, and that I'm aware. And I messed up. I may have messed up a few times, and in my thoughts. And before that, I don't know. And here's how you do it. You look up how to do a green screen in Photoshop, and you look up a video. How to Photoshop green screen. You look it up, and it has a video on it, and it shows you. And then I can show you how to do it. So you have all these layers. You have all these layers on the side. Whoops. No. These right here are layers. These are your layers in Photoshop. I'd like to teach. I can't really teach at a high school. I just can't. It's too much God's work. It would be not enough for myself. It's I could do it at a college or university, and I have an MFA, so I can teach. So I'm a good, I'm eligible to teach at a university. So you're learning from me Photoshop. These are the layers. This lists your layers right here, and then it has like brushes, and you can just draw. You don't have to take a picture of a piece of paper drawing or do a green screen or anything like that. You can just go here. Here's the palette. Well, here's the I believe this is called something like that, the palette or whatever. And you go to the brush. This is the brush tool, and you go here to the side and make the size of it a little bit bigger, so it's like bigger. And you draw, and choose the color. Hey, that's a good color. You can draw like a Christian cross, like a new Christian cross here on the side. Wow, that came out. You click undo, Command Z. That undoes it. I'm going to add a new layer. You go down here to layers and just press the plus symbol, and you can add a new layer. And then you can draw on it, and you make sure it's above the other layers, so it's not like see-through or something if one is like on 40% opacity or whatever. And then you just draw. Oh, cool! It came out 100% opacity. Okay, and then you just draw a Christian cross, and that's a little too not as much of a Christian cross. I'm going to find the eraser tool. I'm going to find the eraser. Just start. I'm just going to press Command Z and undo that, do it again. And you just go to the tool. Christian cross. Oh, came out black. I want to do it some other color. White, lightish, like a Jesus-like yellow, like beautiful light white. Happens to do white this time. No. And you draw this. Make sure it's like a real cross. You don't want to do those mean devil upside down distorted versions of what God and Jesus really stand for. He likes to distort things. I may have to redraw, I don't know, but some of those demons I heard in hell, when people get taken down to hell and they think that they can see, there people who have near-death experiences. I've been looking up the near-death experiences, and when they go down to see, I've gotten back to my kind self. I shouldn't say anything about how my high school being difficult. You can, but they try to get people to be mean, and where's you go here and it has more tools, and you can select paint bucket and make sure it's on the same color white, and you just paste in there, and it looks sort of funny. It made like a little line there, and I'll just draw with the same color on it. Choose the paintbrush. Don't want that. Look like fire or something from the devil stuff. I guess it's not bad. I don't know. And then you can go back to this is how you do Photoshop. It's what I learned. It's actually some of the same stuff, this paint bucket tool that I learned in the 90s at Virginia Western Community College. Paint bucket tool. I don't want to say too much of it. Anyway, you select a color. I had to get it just right before get it a godly heaven-like color, how they describe it. People who have seen it in near-death experiences. Anyway, I gotta go. You can make it whatever color you want. Yeah. Some people had the best high school experience ever. They had the best feeling lives compared to others. And they don't want to die because they've had it so good so far. And it hasn't been that way for me. Okay? But I guess you've had it difficult too, because all humans have, maybe you have it way better than you know compared to most people. Blue. Okay, blue Chris. Cool. That looks cool. Okay, Christian cross. I'm gonna press. Oh, that's on this, and then here in the layers, you can make it you can. Well, you don't want to make it disappear, but see, you have it here, and you can. Anyway, I'm just gonna go. But you press on this and and you can move around. You can click on that button, or it makes it so like the arrow tool or whatever, and you can put it. Oh, well, you can do something like that. Anyway, and press save. Command S, save. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna change the title of this video because my high school was actually okay, I guess. But it gave me a reason to try to be famous and to try to look really good and all that stuff that those people have with those in shape bodies and their good looking faces and everything. I felt like I was like not as good and stuff or something, and so I like worked at my appearance and tried to be popular and famous. And I'm not famous. Anyway, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I'm getting out of here. What's he doing? He's here. He's there. He don't think. Hey! Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Yeah! Okay, bye. Bye. Click like in the video.